Well, we're gonna start out the morning, with some flat-sided crankbaits. I really like the flat-sided crankbaits this time of year. These kind of water temps, fish really like that wobble. They seem to have to them. I'm using the Jackal Bling 55 this morning. Really nice motion. It smacks off the rocks and pilings really nice. I've had a lot of big bites on this bait. So I like to go ahead and start with something like that, something I have a lot of confidence in, try to get a couple fish in the boat early. Also, this morning we're going to go ahead and start out with a jig on. When I'm at the upper bay, I almost always have a jig on. Any time of year, those big fish, they seem to not be able to resist, a jig. You get that jig down around pilings on rocks and real subtle movements, you tap pilings, brush piles, those big fish just really love it. I've had a really good year this year on the bigger fish. I weighed in a lot over 5'5", 5'7". I weighed in a 6'3", a couple weeks back on a jig. So when I'm at the upper bay, I always have a jig on. This lower tide, I like to use a 3/8. Right now we're in 6 foot of water. Most docks though we're gonna fish are only gonna be 3 and 4 foot, or maybe even 2 feet. So I like to use a 3/8. Doesn't get hung up as much on me in that low water, and I don't need the heavier weight to get down there in the current and whatnot. So also this time of year I like to use the net bait trailers, the tiny pack of chunks. Really an awesome little chunk. They hold up. Sometimes I have them on for weeks. They really hold up well. They're really tough. The fish don't seem to rip the pinchers off. They also, with the pack of chunk on, it's a real small package. I like a real small jig this time of year, real compact. Well, now they're on a little something, 2 bites in a few minutes. I went ahead and dipped it. I like a little chartreuse on the tail, and it's garlic. So we're gonna rig up a new one. It's just a little Zoom trick worm. I believe it's actually called shaky head worm June bug, super salt plus, but a ton come in a pack. They're cheap. Fish have trouble resisting them, even when it's tough. I'm just gonna wind it on there, and pull it out a little ways after the head, and like the winder up on there, push it up over the bait holder there, and then I give it a little spin, spin it here, and then I go ahead and put it up onto the hook. You're just gonna kind of wind it on there a little bit so you hide it so it's a little more weedless. But these worms are soft, and when they bite it punctures well, as long as they're not grabbing the tail. And then you kind of make sure it's sitting nice and even here. It'll sit up real nice when you're bouncing along. And that tail gets up in the water and dangles, and that little chartreuse I like in this murky water. That helps it stand out a little bit more. But this June bug's awesome color in this muddy water. And that fish came off in the boat. It was real important once I got him moving to keep him moving one direction, and I didn't want to go for the net. Then he might have gotten off waiting on that. So just use the momentum, keep him coming the same way, and get him in. A lot of times it'll hold him in just hold him on by the momentum, and he'll come off in the boat or in the air coming into the boat. Further down the bay, another shallow spot with some good structure. We're gonna just check out a brush pile real quick, see if we can't get a nice bite. Some real nice fish down here. Water's still 49.5. It's not that different than a few miles back. Right now I'm just rubbing brush and structure. You're just hoping to make them react. Hit the right piece, right in front of them, make the crankbait do a little dance. Normally on a brush pile like this, I don't like there he is. There he is. Little guy, nothing big, but keeper. There's really quite a bit there. Really down there, really heavy. You know, 7, 9, 50 degree water.